Yeah. I don't know. About an hour. Yeah.
All your videos keep coming up on my For You page on TikTok.
Yeah. On your what page?
My For You page. Look.
Yeah, I put
You
that
keep
on.
coming up on all of my friends' For You pages as well.
Oh. Alrighty. Right, let me just check the Facebook page. Great, we are live. So, guys, welcome to the round table. Those that are joining us, we're just going to do what I normally do when I'm doing my lives in the evening, and I'm just going to let everybody know that we are going live. Okay, bang. Let's send that out now. This will just take a minute, just a little bit of admin. Okay. This is where we all just sit in silence, just awkwardly waiting for the Biff to get his self together. Right, send, and then send, and send. Great. Let me just get you guys back. There you are. There is that. Cool. All right. So we're just going to give this a minute just to build up. And then whilst we're doing that, I'm just going to introduce what we're going to be doing here. I realize that for some people, you might be watching this back. So use your sketches when you come through. Please do let me know if you're watching, i.e. with the thumb buttons, hit the thumb buttons. Let me know if you're watching live. Let me know if you're watching back. So the feature that we're doing here today is what's called the round table. This is a new element of the 5-day challenge. And the reason that I've done this is because I wanted to bring in a range of guys who volunteered to come on board quite bravely, because it is a thing that you can end up building a little bit of anxiety to, like, what am I going to be asked? What's going to happen here? So these lads who have been with me a while, who have been following me for ages, have volunteered to come on and talk to you about their journeys, because I know that it can be quite daunting when you're on the other side. So when you're in the early stages of wanting to improve yourself, it can be really full of anxiety. So these guys are here to really reassure you in terms of, hey, this is what I went through, this is what I'm going through, and hopefully can give you a little bit of element of their story. So I'm going to introduce them. So Mark, give us a wave. Cool. So Mark, if you want to just give us a quick intro to who you are, when you joined, etc.
Yeah, so my name's Mark. I'm 49 years old, in my 50th year, I suppose. I did the 5-day course in August 2020, mid-pandemic, and then did the 28 days straight away after, and then joined the mastermind in the October after the 28th day. I work in IT. I'm actually a sales director and a company director for a business. The reason I joined and did the 5-day was I found that work was all encompassing. My health was absolute crap. I was a lazy husband, being blunt, and I needed to change. So that's the reason I'm here.
I like that word. I don't like that word, but that's a good way to describe lazy husband. Like, you know, I'm going to write that one down for a show. Cool, Mark. Thank you. John, if you'd like to introduce yourself for me.
Hi, I'm John Hammond. I joined also in about the mastermind in October 2020, I think. Like Mark, I'd done a couple of 5-day challenges and 28-day programs. I was introduced to this by a good friend who thought it might be good for me, because I had, as his words say, just turned into an angry new dad who'd lost his way in the world. And I really struggled. And this program has literally got me through 2 years of the pandemic as a frontline paramedic. Really been stressful 2 years, and just having this structure that the programs that James has done really has just got me through it.
Good man. Thanks for that, John. My man, Mr. Turner.
Hi, Craig. I live in the Midlands near Nottingham. Did sort of about a year or so following JB on the free content, YouTube and Facebook and the like. Did the 5-day free challenge a year before I joined the 28-day challenge, and I've kind of progressed through all the stages. So 28-day, went into the mastermind, completed the 8-week accelerator program, and then recently just about finished the 12-week accelerator program. So quite a lot of experience to draw on in terms of how it's affected me personally on my journey. I really believe that is something you've got to take from this, is that when you embark on it, it's your journey, and it's so powerful that you'll have ups, you'll have downs, but ultimately it's one of the best things you'll ever do.
Love it. Thanks, Craig. And you've had a great journey as well, man. Really good. The very dashing and good-looking Martin.
Hey guys, I'm Martin from Yorkshire, 39 years old, level 39 for me. I started with James in March of 2020, just as COVID was starting. For me, I joined because I'd reached a point as a lone parent. My wife died in 2016, so I've got 2 little kids to look after. I was working full time, and I'd reached a point where of personal development where I needed to level up, and I was looking for something or somebody to coach me, to lead me to the next level, and I found that in James. Did that, the 5-day course, went straight on to the 28-day, and then got accepted onto the mastermind after that. I did the accelerator course last year, and it's helped me build in more resilience and confidence and consistency. So it's been really good for me over the last 2 years.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for that, dude. And then Simon.
Hi, yeah, I'm Simon. I'm from up north in Derbyshire, where it snowed this morning, and I started just through a link on Facebook. I saw the challenge, 5-day challenge, and reached out to JB and I said, am I going to bite off more than I can chew with this because I've got a chronic health problem? And he said, come on, give it a go. So I took him at his word. I have had support all the way. So I did the 5-day challenge, went straight into a 28-day challenge in, I think it was November. And then on the back of that, I did it again in January and then applied for the mastermind. And I think, like so many of you other guys have just said, it's been a real journey, eye-opener, but it has been for me life-changing. I was like, to put it this way, I was in the crash room with my life. I was not in a good place, really depressed, really anxious. And I am now feeling like I have got my life back again. I have purpose, got some structure, and I have a spring in my step. So, life is good.
Good man.
So I feel very grateful for that process. And yeah, highly recommend.
And we're grateful to have you as well, dude. So I'm really pleased you made it here with us as well. So I think this is great for you to be here. So, and the same for all of you. So thanks for being here. I've known you guys now for a couple of years, and it's been quite a journey through the COVID era. I think all of you have been through it. Obviously, Simon, you come towards you're our newest member out of everyone that's here, but I think you've been following anyway throughout the process. So I really appreciate you guys being here. So we've got a series of questions that a couple of lads have emailed. We can't answer all of these questions, but we've got a certain particular set of questions. As we're going through, guys, you watching, if there's any questions that you kind of feel like you want to ask, or there's anything you're desperate to know, then please do just fire them in the comments. And if you do resonate with any of the lads, or there's anything that you relate to, then please do communicate. Like the same with everything, it's always about engagement. We're not in a room together where I can see that interactiveness. So listen, so the first question is, at what point did you realize you had to change? So I guess what he's asking is what was the pinnacle point where you just went enough is enough, for yourself? Does anyone want to lead with that?
Yeah, I'll go for that.
Go for it.
So for me, obviously going through a massive trauma in 2016, I took a good few years to recover. But during that point in time, I wanted to expand on my personal development and obviously push forward with my skill set in terms of work and being a good dad and being at home and what have you. And then towards the end of 2019, mid-2019 into 2020, I'd reached a point where I'd learned as much as I could do on my own. I needed a dad or a leader, a coach to take me to the next level. And that's where it came in for me.
Good man. And when you think about back to that time when you start building up to there, what do you think stopped you doing it from before? Was it timing, or was it stubbornness, or what do you think it was?
Stubbornness, laziness, complacency, being late, just happy with the way things were.
Yeah.
Just doing enough and sailing by and thinking that was all right. Yeah. And actually, whatever anybody's life experiences, everybody gets to a point where, whether it's a tragedy or just self-realization or having a kid or a divorce or whatever, something happens and then you wake up and realize that's not enough.
Yeah.
You need more direction. You need to drive forward constantly.
Yeah. 100%.
Otherwise you're just lost.
Yeah, 100%. And you've come from a real trauma as well. And I think you've done incredibly well. I think the pinnacle point was when you come to the seminar in November. And that was a real good moment for you. I really saw the difference in you from all the work that you put in yourself, because it is a bit of a journey, right? And that was great to see.
Can I add in there? I think somebody said it earlier, is about your journey. So Martin went through a tragedy. I didn't really go. Mine wasn't a tragedy. It was just a realization that, as I said, I was being lazy. I wasn't moving forward. And it's about everyone in the group and everyone in the 5-day and everyone in the 28-day all have a different journey and a different set of problems, and you can't compare yourself. We were on a call last month, actually, where James was asking us about what are your problems, and my problems all about work and a team I was handling. And then when somebody else came on, they were talking about their problems of they're going through a divorce, it's taking them a long time. My problems to me suddenly felt very insignificant, but actually I can't compare myself to somebody else because it's what I'm going through. And I think that's it. You've got, when you're going through this, the 5-day and the 28-day or whatever, you can't compare yourself to somebody else. I was a lazy husband who work was getting on top of me. I was doing nothing around the house. My wife was doing all the cooking. I wouldn't even load the dishwasher or, do that. But now I'm doing those things because I realized that I need to do that. And actually I wasn't doing any personal development, and I'm now doing that because of the processes in place. But just the one thing is, just don't compare yourself to somebody else, because I can't imagine what Martin's been through, right? I lost a dad when I was quite a long time ago, but I can't imagine what losing a wife was like. So just that's the one thing I want to say.
100%. And just for reference, like for guys watching, they'll be like, what's this 28-day thing? So we've evolved from the 28-day to the 90-day. So in case people are going, what the hell is 28-day? So just kind of like how we bring people through our system is by an evolved program. So we've done the 28 days for 2 years, and now we feel like we've created an even better program for the 90, a better experience, I think is the word. And I think the guys will agree that after the 28 days, having 2 months worth of focused mission, like 28 days, it really cements the foundations that you put into place. And that's where we found that gap. Craig, I know you wanted to add on to those points.
Yeah, because it's something that I've thought about throughout the process, and like Mark's just touched on it, Martin's touched on it. Every single lad in there will say, you do have those moments where you feel like, oh, my problems aren't matching other people's problems. But that was my point, was that it's all relative, because what's brilliant about this system is that how it brings that shared, what I'm trying to say, it brings that shared problem that everybody's got. We're all at that sink or swim point when we start, for whatever reason. And the process itself, I think, is so clever, because it enables everybody to do the same process, no matter what is the problem, how deep the problems are. This process will give that structure. It will strip it away. You'll just be faced with what's in front of you, what you've got to do. And I think that's where, for me, it stood out versus other programs, versus other online coaching. It was that genuine congruence where it's like, this is a system. If you stick to this system, it will give you results, positive results. It'll be difficult, but you'll get those results. And I just wanted to touch on that with what Mark said, that
100%.
It's clever how it works, because you can...
I mean, I think that's when we look at the way, when we look at, if we had every bloke in here, probably around 150 or 60 guys in here, every single person would have a different thing going on. But the beauty is that if you think about a North Star, right, and you guys know about this, and I've talked about it with the guys, everybody has some form of North Star that we're on this journey with. And it's like being on a pilgrimage, and we're all moving in that direction. Sure, whatever that North Star is different for everybody, but we're still going in that direction, following the same principles and same values that we do. And one of the reasons we've got that from the military, and one of the things we used to do when I run my first business, which was a boot camp, you'd have a multitude of fitness levels of people coming in. You get like lads who are super fit, footballers, and then you get your mum who had let herself go and was 2 stone overweight, and you're like, how do you make sure they all get a workout? Well, you just set it by timing. So you've got 1 minute to do as many press-ups as you can. Now the athlete or the lad might do 70, and the housewife might do 4, but she's still got the workout. If that is another analogy to explain exactly what Craig was expanding on. Cool. Does anyone else want to add to that before we move on to the next question?
One thing about us all being individual, James, it's always stuck in my mind. I think it was on one of your very early videos when I first started with you, was we're not trying to be another James Boardman, another Craig, another Martin. You're giving us the tools to be the best version of us that we can be. And that's always stuck with me.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. And one of the things, and one of the reasons I'm so conscious to exploit my own downfalls is because it's really important for everybody to understand that everybody, like no one is coming out of this unscathed. Not me, not any of the other coaches that preach online. And the reason I'm happy to do that is because if you start comparing yourself to me or someone else, it's going to drive you mental. But what you have to see is that element that you just have the system, but there are going to be days when we don't feel like it or when we've dropped the ball. But it's about how do you flip it? How quickly can you flip it? How quickly can you recognize it, right? So building up that level of consciousness in our mind. All right, second question. What's been the hardest part of your journey? So I'm going to come to Simon for this one.
Getting to a point of accepting that I couldn't do this for myself on my own with whatever the limitations were that I perceived that I had.
Yeah.
And then that awareness leading to some degree of acceptance, and then going, okay, I can only start from where I'm at. And I responded to the 5 day, I think, positively, because it took me from where I was at, and I could see a journey ahead, but I could see that actually I could do some of this stuff myself.
Yeah.
With the support of you guys and the structures that we were putting in place through that training. So hardest part, is just accepting you have to begin where you're at.
Okay. And why do you think that was so hard for you, like in terms of where you're at? Is it a case of having to confront the reality of the reflection in the mirror and you're not liking it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's facing up to the truth about the state you're in, where you've got to, if you hit the bottom or wherever you're at. The thing that is really stopping you from thriving, stopping you from growing, is actually not pretending that's not really there.
Yeah.
Like two versions of reality. There's like your game face, and then there's that inner world, which is going, I feel so lost, or I feel confused.
Yeah.
Or for me, I just lost my way. I just had no idea what I wanted to do anymore.
Yeah.
What I could do. And this has now got me back into this process.
Yeah.
So,
You got to go back before going forwards, right? You've got it, like you're here. You've got to take a couple of steps back to build foundations and awareness, and then boom, it's like a spring recoil.
Yeah, totally. And I can't quite believe where I was at and where I am now. So that's really positive. I'm really pleased about that. But it's just been stripping away these layers of self delusion.
Yeah. It's true though. It is delusion, isn't it? Like, I remember being like that way back in the day, being just completely delusional about where I was and just lying to myself. I often do when I go and play golf with people, and I count other people's score and what they're doing. And then when I turn around and they tell me what the score is and they're going like, they drop a couple of shots off and they're like, and I'm like, I've got you down as 6. Oh, it was definitely a 4. And like in their head, they're convinced that they're right, or they pretend that they're better than they are by changing their scores on golf. And I'm just like, that's what we do in life. We pretend we're playing better than we actually are. And you just end up thinking you're better than you are. So then you don't think there is a problem. So you don't do anything about it. And it's that pride and ego that gets in the way. Good reflection, dude. Anyone else want to add on that? What's been the hardest part of your journey?
Start.
Who? The start.
The start. It's actually, as you said, stripping it back and being self-aware enough to understand what the actual problem is. Yeah. What you're doing wrong, or what you're not doing, I should say. Yeah. If you live in your own little bubble or your own little happiness, and I call it a velvet trench. You're all very cozy in your velvet trench, and you stick your head up over the parapet, and no, that doesn't look very comfy. No, don't stick it here. It's warm. And it's having that's the hardest bit. That and getting up in the mornings at the start. So, it's getting back an understanding about and being self-aware enough to actually go, this is what I need to change. And that's what speaking to a lot of people, that's what the hardest. It's the start of the journey is always the hardest. Yeah, I agree. And it's because we're trying to undo everything the whole way we've been living, right? We build up a process in our brain. And like suddenly you're changing, your brain's going, I don't recognize this. Like, no, we're not doing this. And that's where I think in the first 2, 3, 4 weeks, that's why we do that initial 28 day is boot camp. It's boot camp. It's like, it's taking the civilian. If you didn't get in the military sense, you go and do boot camp because you get the civilian out of you so that you train in a regimental way with discipline and stuff. Anyone else want to add to that question? Anything in particular that's been particularly hard on the journey, or is it pretty much the same for all of you? Cool. All right. So
Let's ask Martin with this one. Start with, how do you deal with failure yourself?
To be honest, James.
Or do you?
Yeah. Of course I do. I fail all the time. And we've just started this thing with the kids this week. Well, a few weeks ago, where at the start of the week, I tell them I want to hear about their failures during the week. Because if you're failing, you know, you're trying new things, you're doing things, and then you're learning as well.
Yeah.
For me, when I fail, which I do all the time, first of all, I chill out, you know, because I get anxious about it. I put my feet up and try and unwind and digest it first. But then one of the major things that I've learned on this last 2 years has been resilience. You know, every time we fail, we've got to get back up again. I do martial arts. I know you do, James. And one of the proverbs is, you know, get knocked down 7 times, get up 8. You know, and well, that's it for me in terms of failure. Dealing with it is the resilience, you know, and it doesn't come straight away. Just going back to the last question, when we first started, one of the first things that happened was everybody is out of the blocks thinking, yes, this is fantastic, I know how to do it, and we're trying to run a marathon before we've even done 10K.
Really good statement. Yeah, really good statement. And I think with failure, if I was to ask you how many wins resulted off the failure of things that you tried to do, you could probably name a multitude amount, right? So the failure, for me, failing is winning. Like failing is not showing up, like, and not fail. If you're not failing, you really are failing. It's really weird. You get confused if you keep going around in circles of it. John, how do you deal with failure? And be honest, because I've picked you up a few times, right? I've had to kick your ass big time.
I've had my butt kicked, absolutely. I now deal with failure by being a lot calmer about it, and just sort of like, so if I've missed something, it's sort of like, get up, do it again.
Yeah.
If something didn't go right, or if I didn't get something done in time, it's a lot calmer. It's sort of like, no, do it again, try again. But at the same time, don't kick myself over it. It's sort of like, that's happened.
Yeah.
We get up tomorrow, we do it again. You go again. If your timings didn't work out because you've got a curveball or something, you slot it in somewhere else. You just chip away, and just, I don't seem to get angry about it anymore. And you just try again. You just keep going at it all the time.
How was you reacting though, if we're being honest at the start? So the times that I've had to pick you up?
Angry, pissed off, JB's on wanker, it doesn't work, the system doesn't work, it's all bollocks. The usual man type.
That's reality, right?
Everyone else's fault.
It's,
life's shit, it's all crap. The usual expletives that we use in life.
100%.
And it's not. You have to stop and look, and it's sort of like, and also you're teaching us about our wins as well. It's sort of like, okay, this didn't work, but 4 other things I did today were brilliant.
100%.
So really that's how I deal with it now. It's just doesn't even seem to be a problem now.
That's great. And
it doesn't feel like it.
No, it's right. And I think you have. And I haven't seen a pity party post in ages.
Oh, no, we don't go down that route anymore. that route leads to an ass kicking.
All right, awesome. Has anyone got anything different that they want to add, or is everyone kind of like the same? Go for it, Si.
I just wanted to say there's failure, and there's also the fear of failure, which for me was the biggie.
Yeah.
I think wasn't sure about starting because I just feared there'd be another thing I couldn't do, and I feared the failure. So I feared to start, and that then starts procrastination off and overthinking for me. Anyway, so yeah.
I think that is so true as well, especially when you get to this stage here, when you want to work on yourself and you want to do the course, but you're like, is this going to be another thing that I shelf, or is this going to be another thing that I fail at? And that becomes that overthinking, right? In terms of that, it's like, there's no point in me signing up to go to jiu-jitsu, or there's no point in me going to play golf because I'm just going to be crap at it and I'm just going to fail. And that's that negative mentality, right? That's that cycle. Cool. All right. Next question. So I just want you to think of one, and I'm going to ask each of you, okay? What results have you got from working in a group? So what would you say the main thing is, okay? Take a second to think, and let's go to Mark first, because he looks like he's really struggling to think.
I actually wrote a few down earlier. I'll go with two, actually, because I'm greedy. First one is I did actually lose some weight and I got a lot fitter.
Okay.
My weight curve is very much like the pandemic, seems to be doing that. But that's just also because I've just had a hip operation. So it's now on the way down again. But again, the process just works, and it's not about losing weight. If you do the process right, it helps with that type of thing.
Love it.
The other thing then, just more structure with planning. The real thing for me was, I would say, I'm going to go to the gym this week, and you get to the end of the week and I haven't been, because the sofa sucks you in, winks at you all seductively and says, oh, look at me, I'm comfy. Come and sit here and look what's on the telly. But by planning, the biggest result for me is actually having that work-life balance and the four pillars and the tabletop that's flat and the balance. So I'm improving my personal development, and everything is kind of more at a balanced level now because of it.
Okay, perfect. John?
Morning routine.
Okay.
Morning routine.
What does morning routine mean to you?
It was a very weird realization when I first learned, and you first talked about it, about getting up early to have time to myself.
Okay.
It's almost like when you've got especially with a house full of young kids and a family, getting up early to have a bit of quiet time, quiet, relaxing time.
Yeah.
Odd concept, and then I get so much done in it. I feel I get, so much done in those couple of hours in the morning before everyone else gets up. Love it.
Perfect. Good man. Craig?
It'd have to be clarity and awareness, I think, for better or worse. Yeah, definitely. It's
I know you're one that's stripped down. You've stripped down like everything, haven't you?
big time, yeah.
I think you do it really well though, because you strip it down to understand it.
I do, yeah.
To then build it back up, which is the way that you think and the way that you work. And I think that works.
Yeah. And ultimately, again, it comes back to that. It's your own journey. But I think the deeper that you take it, and the more that you strip it back, like you've just said, it's my way of doing things. That's how I work. Same with Martin and the martial arts. It's your foundation. If you don't cement that foundation, you are lying to yourself further down the line. And as Martin observed, you'll see people who are out the stocks, they're 100 miles an hour. Everybody's the same, but it's how you approach it, and if you take the time to strip it back, it's going to be really hard.
Yeah.
You're going to have to really face yourself in that mirror and be like, you're bullshitting yourself.
Yeah.
Even if it's not from a point of ego, even if it's from a point of starting from a point of failure.
Yeah.
Like it was where I felt I was, to build yourself up from what you feel like is nothing, to reach a point where you think you're doing fantastic, to then realize that you've got fucking 1,000 feet to climb. You're constantly like this. And that's my big issue, which you always say, well, you're doing good. So I'll keep on doing that, because I don't know any other way. But
100%. It's good.
Clarity, awareness.
Yeah, 100%. I think awareness is the front door, is the cost of entry through that front door. And I talked to the guys about the opportunity last night. It's like this door that we have, and that's the life that a lot of people are living right now in the cycle of chaos. But you go through this front door, and on the other side is self-awareness. Is other like, this is great, what we're doing here in terms of self-awareness. Martin?
For me, the number one thing's got to be consistency. So, it's starting as a teenager all the way through my 20s. I was into fitness and various other hobbies, but constantly you would get to a point where it would fall off.
Yeah.
I may go back to it, but it'd be a long, long time, whatever it was. And coming here, you understand that the consistency is the key to success, self-development, all the other things. Once you've built that foundation that Craig was talking about, the consistency then helps you take it forward. And off the back of that, building the resilience. So when you do fall off the back of it, because you always do, then building in the resilience, then to not be so hard on yourself, like John was saying, and get up and it's a new day, and you crack on. Start all over again. What's happened yesterday has happened. Crack on, and then the consistency to move forward.
I love that. Yeah, 100%. And we've introduced the 3Cs slightly, and I think they work as a real solid foundation to base your performance on, right? Simon?
Got lots from what other people said were what I was going to say, but actually, for me, beginning with a structured morning routine, just like taking the direction of travel of my days in a completely new way. I've kind of given up before I've started with my mornings. Okay. And now I have a morning, and I'm early, and I'm doing stuff, getting my own house in order before I have to start reacting to things that are going around.
Good say.
And it's just really, my body clock's changed as well, so that's good. But yeah, no, it's really helped me find a solid place to start every day. Yeah.
Certainty every day.
Can I add there? I find it really interesting observation to look where I am now, and the other guys who have been similar length of membership. And when you first start, like from the 5-day program, and you're seeing people who are going, oh, I've achieved this has just happened, I've just ran 20K, I've just, done whatever it is, these personal achievements that people have got, and you think, oh man, I'm so far away from that. And then within 6 months, they're happening. You're talking about them, you're posting them, and then no matter whatever else is happening, whether you feel like you're falling off at the back and something's always happening good, these things start to snowball and take effect, and all of a sudden you're the one that the new people are looking at going, how the fuck have they done that? Really good, really good.
Like I said, there's always going to be someone ahead of you, and there's all, and I think the way we should look at it is going, that's going to be me in 3-4 months. That's going to be me in like that. And that's, do you know what I mean? If you just show up, if you choose to show up, and it is a choice, you can make the choice to disappear. I always say, look, this is 325 people who have registered for this challenge. Yeah, on average, 40 people are showing up. So you're going to got to ask yourself, well, wait a minute, where's the other 300 people? And that's the choice that people make. Those people's choice will be, I'm distracted, I don't have time, scam, whatever you want to believe. And you think how many men, since we've been doing this, have missed that opportunity to be where you are. Like, you could have made that decision, gone, I'm too busy, and not be here and still be in that place. And that's the real scary part. And I think if we could just get more and more guys just going, just give it 5 days to wake yourself up. It's just like shaking someone for 5 days. Wake up, like, out of that coma. Cool. All right. I'm conscious of time. So let's have Mark answer this. How do you handle overwhelm?
Now it's a case of brain dumping. You have to get it out of your head. And I use this with a lot of people that I talk to now. And I've read a number, again, through doing this, you learn PD, and I've read a book called Indistractable, and I've read other books or listened to other books that I just wouldn't have done previously. Yeah. But for me, I think I must have a bit of ADHD, but it's when you can overthink and you get overwhelmed, a lot of it, and you're not sleeping, or you've got that knot in your stomach or that kind of headache there. Yeah. If you could just write it down and brain dump it and list it all out, when you put it on paper, you go, oh, it's not that bad, is it? And then you go, right, what do I actually need to do? And once you've done that, it kind of comes down. So again, it's just using that consistency of doing that when you're having, and then it gives you the clarity, and then you get the control of it. So yeah, 100%. And I think the brain dump is huge, and doing it regularly throughout the day, not just one, but like setting an alarm and doing it, and that's a system. Exactly. Okay. At the start of the week as well, just saying, what is the key things I need to get done this week?
100%.
Obviously, it's going to be curveballs.
It's just stripping down the sculpture, isn't it? It's like getting rid of all of the marble, just so you.
That's what I'm trying to do, James.
Just that sculpture out of this thing. What fears did you have about signing up, John?
My big fear was that this was all going to be physical. With you being ex-military, it was all going to be physical, boot camp, type stuff, chin strapped, and I was pleasantly surprised, and still am, that the amount of other things that I've learned, and
I
structure.
don't even talk about fitness a lot of the time. You just crack
No.
on with the phone, right?
Yeah, no, and you know, and the things you instill in us, and the personal development and all the other pillars that we have to work on, and health is just one of them.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, that was my biggest fear, was it was all going to be physical.
Okay, good man, Martin.
Looking back on it, trying to recall, I think when I got stuck into the 28 days, it was the showing up, you know, doing the things that we were asked to do at the time. You know, it's all well and good. It's like getting a new hobby or a new bike or something. You go out for the first few weeks and you start cycling and think, this is fantastic, this is brilliant. And then after a month, you're like, right, put it in the back of the garage and it starts getting dusty. So for me, it was that. Prior to that, before the 5 days, I was raring to go.
Yeah,
I really wanted it.
Yeah, good. I love that. Anyone else got anything else that they want to add on that one? Was there anything in particular they're worried about?
For me, it comes back to that whole journey thing about, was my problems bad enough, you know, and it's, you know, when you get in. But actually, what I will say is that we talk about the journey, but it's a case of I've been so inspired by some of the guys in this, well, most of the guys in the whole process, what other people are going through, and it doesn't really matter about your different levels. But just today, just in this, for example, I've written down what Martin said about saying to your kids, tell me about your failures this week.
Yeah.
Me too.
My kid will probably think I'm going to give him a bollocking over it. it's you inspire. There's so many different stories, and I've listened back to a lot of the podcasts and a lot of the kind of sessions that you've posted as online, and I would listen to those that I wasn't even involved in, and you would just hear kind of, if other people can do this and other people can sort their shit out, even though you may feel it's not a big thing, actually it means that you can improve as well.
100%. Yeah, 100%. That's really good. And I think Simon even wrote down about the kids as well. Like I saw you waving there when we all said we're going to ask the kids.
I did. Yeah, no.
Oh, you're fearless today.
Yeah.
I was fearful of not being good enough for the program, and that I wouldn't have anything to bring to the table, and that no one would be interested in what I had to say. That's where I was. I was like, you know, didn't even feel like a human, I don't think.
Did any of you kind of feel like you would be worried or fearful that you'd be the worst in the group?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Totally.
I think I feared that people would see me at my most vulnerable and go, you know, whatever, reaction, write-off, whatever. And I couldn't cope with that idea. But that's not the experience at all. Quite the opposite.
Yeah,
it's the opposite. Yeah.
When you expose yourself, and I often sometimes have that fear. So like I just opened up about struggling with direction, even though I'm not an expert at teaching it. You're just like, and you just think, how's it going to be received? But it's just about being, and I spoke about why I was honest about that, you know, and a lot of that has to do with having a newborn and giving some of my energy there, and actually giving all my time to a lot of people in terms of their direction and forgetting my own. And I think it's all a learning curve, right? Everything's a learning curve. Everything we go through is new. We are constantly, I think we evolve every day. I think every single day we wake up, even if it's just 0.5%, we evolve somehow in the way that we think and the way that we show up. The way that I coach is completely different to the way I coached 2 years ago. Like, you know, my mannerisms, I swear a hell of a lot less. I'm not as frantic. I don't talk as quick, but like you just naturally evolve and relax into your journey and your process. But I think connecting with that journey and that identity and what you're trying to achieve really helps you understand you better. And when you do that, you're the master of your own emotions and mindset. And that's a powerful place to be, right?
Yeah.
Okay, last one. We're going to ask everyone just one statement. How has your life changed? Someone's asked. Mark.
I'm happier. I feel that I'm moving forward and improving, and I'm inspired by the other people around me.
Love it. John?
Structure.
Okay. Good. Super simple. Great.
I feel like I'm living life again rather than just existing.
Love that. Good. Si?
It's purpose. I feel now I'm looking forward to the rest of my life, and there's so much of it to live.
Yeah, love that. Martin?
For me, it's probably direction and consistency, knowing there's that future there. And a bit like Simon said, when we fall, we've got this brotherhood there that always supports us.
Yeah.
It cheers us on when we're doing well and picks us up when we're not doing so good. Yeah, and it pays dividends.
Brilliant. I'm going to put you all on the spot now. And I want you to all, if you were to give one piece of advice to anyone watching this, don't say sign up. Right? I don't want you to say that. I want you to give some real encouragement or feedback of piece of advice that you would give somebody who is sitting there and they are wanting to change the way that they live their life. They want to go from average to something incredible. They want to go on that journey that you've gone on. Okay. What piece of advice, if they sat in a room with you for 5 seconds, would you give them? Mark?
I would actually start and give something. I've used this a few times. Is start with the triangle. And that really hit home to me about work at the bottom, then family, then PD, and then you.
Yep.
And that you're holding up work, and that's where you're at.
Yeah.
Put yourself at the top. That's the way you want to. That's the way you should live your life. Perfect. You'll be a better person, and then actually everyone around you will benefit from that.
Yeah, perfect. And we did that last night, so that's going to be really relevant for the last.
I didn't know that, by the way, everyone.
Oh, no, it's fine. Yeah, no worries. Craig?
Commit to it wholeheartedly. Trust it. Trust us. Come and see for yourself, and the results speak for themselves. You'll not make a better choice without a doubt.
Good man, Craig. John?
Have faith in the system. Have trust in the programs in the system, and be totally prepared to put yourself first.
Yeah, and that, guys, doesn't mean go and buy a patch of pad or take yourself on a holiday by yourself. That means like all of the things I've been teaching you guys in the 5-day about prioritizing yourself. We've talked about perspective on that. Putting yourself first is having a morning routine, is having 30 minutes to yourself to go and work out, is journaling. It's the small micro things in our lives that make us better, right? Martin?
I'd say be honest with yourself. Stick with it and write. I think Mark was saying before about doing it, your brain dumping. Just write everything. Just write. It's brilliant.
Do you think we could all write our own book? Do you think most guys in the mastermind could write a book on their life?
Without a doubt, yeah. We've all got interesting stories regardless of what our journeys have been on. And everybody can pick something up and learn from it. And that's what this is about, sharing those stories with each other and realising that you're not actually the only one that's living those problems. That whether it doesn't matter what your story is, all those problems are the same. Yeah, we can all help each other.
And that's why I love the community, because we're all in the one bubble, right? We're all in that one thing.
Second that, get your journaling down, like Martin said. Don't matter if you feel daft or whatever, but just get your journaling system down to a fine art as quickly as you can.
100%, man. I agree. It's good. And then Si?
Yeah, I'd say, how are you doing? And what's the alternative in terms of how you're going to carry on? And then I'd go, trust the process, like the other guys have said. Yeah.
And that is a really good one, because tomorrow is what's the alternative as well. So listen, guys, I really appreciate you coming on. We'll stick on afterwards to have a chat. But for people watching, these you can see from these lads that actually it's not always plain sailing. It is always ups and downs. It doesn't matter what's going on. It's about coming back to those principles, key principles, those key values, those key characters, and showing character if you choose to commit. Okay, guys. So tonight we'll be talking about the morning routine. I look forward to seeing you then. And make sure you get your questions in. If there's any late questions on anyone watching back, ask them underneath, and then I'll make sure we get back and answer them. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Let's start.